We are live.
We are. You caught us doing a little beatboxing and snaring.
Well, that's some awesome music, though. I love that. That intro music is fantastic.
Yeah, I got to do something to keep us awake, right?
Yes,
Exactly.
we're old. We fall asleep early.
Exactly. It's I just finished dinner. No, that's a midnight snack. Dinner was at like 2 p.m.
Oh, very nice.
Very nice. Welcome everybody to a long time coming, a Red 5 Live here on the interwebs. I'd like to say hello to everybody in the chat. How are you guys? We got Luke, we got Jeff, we got Cam, we got Kevin. Our certain point of view. Hello there. Hey, everybody. And across the galaxy from me, I've got Charles from the Conversations podcast. How are you, Charles?
I am doing swimmingly. How are you?
Swimmingly. Wow.
Yeah.
That's not like a sperm joke, is it?
No, no. We had tons of rain today, so my
Oh.
yeah, the ditches in the front of the house are full. So, thus swimmingly.
Yeah, we had some rain too. Had to do some a little repair on the gutter so we wouldn't get into the swimmingly ourselves, but for sure. But here we are, a couple of nerds. Let's see who else shows up later on our Red 5 Live. We got a couple of things that we can chat about. But again, thank you guys for joining us tonight. This should be a lot of fun. We scheduled a Red 5 Live a couple of weeks ago, but we had some scheduling conflicts. Something came up in the old personal life, and I couldn't schedule it. But yeah, I mean, if you guys ever want to do any of the Red 5ers ever want to do a Red 5 Live where I can't do it, I'm more than happy to hand over the credentials over to you guys. You guys can kind of take it over. So
That's a
they're
scary proposition.
absolutely. So before we started our lovely dance music countdown,
Mm.
we were talking about Star Wars Celebration. Everybody is posting some really great pictures of Star Wars Celebration Chicago. Obviously, close to my heart, living in Chicago, having started the Scare of Scuttlebutt podcast on the tail end of Celebration Chicago. What are some of the wonderful memories that you have of Celebration Chicago? I know a lot, like I said, a lot of people have been posting and everybody was here. I missed you
Yes.
guys.
It's one of the biggest regrets. The amount of people that we know now from Celebration Chicago, just because we had just launched our show just beforehand. It's unbelievable the amount of people that were there, and they crop up at certain points. Lauren from the Galactic Podcast, she's
Yeah.
literally in one of our shots that we
Oh,
posted. The story that where Pat was doing the Wookiee on Good Morning America. She was in the back there. It's crazy, and I think one of the best memories that we have is the prep for the entire show. We built our 5 costumes each for about 6 months prior to the to celebration. Packed it all up, and the excitement. We were like 2 kids at Christmas, and we got there, and just the pure joy that we experienced from every fan that we saw, interacted with, or spoke to, saw as a secondhand glance, where admiring someone's cosplay. It was extremely heartwarming, and that's probably one of the best memories that I have from it.
yeah, totally. And like I said, everybody has been posting their pictures, and I'm going and I'm on my phone. I'm like kind of like zooming into everybody's background just to see if I can see
Yes.
myself because I was all over that, man. It's too
Oh,
funny. It's too funny.
yeah.
But yeah, some wonderful memories, and obviously I work the media there, so that was a wonderful assignment for me. And obviously we did a lot of coverage there because the my reporter friends and I are we were all also obviously big nerds, big Star Wars fans, and it was kind of a dream assignment. We had to do some some arm twisting with the higher ups to really let people know that this is an important event, man.
It was, and look what happened. I mean, it's the very next one was canceled.
Yeah.
Well, shifted, of course, but
Yeah, shifted, but yeah, I mean, it's great to see all these pictures, and it's fantastic to have been, to have started our podcast, at the end of celebration. During celebration, I went around and grabbed a couple of sound bites and interviews from people and made that into our very first episode. So
right.
kudos. What else have you been doing, Charles? What are you guys up to? I did happen to listen to a couple of episodes, some Red 5 Missions.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
You and the family over at Coruscant Radio Underground.
Yeah,
How was that?
it was a blast. I mean, it comes out in the show, of course, but Andrew and Marisha are just great people, extremely intelligent, well-spoken, and they know the books. They know all the lore, the extended universe, so it really makes it a fantastic story to talk to them about. And we had a great time talking to them, and it ran so long that we actually split it up and did half and half on the two shows because and it was a natural process, and that's so fun about it. You just sitting around a table talking Star Wars, and the fact that we could turn it into Red 5 Mission, even better. So kudos to you in the setup for you and Brad with Red 5. It gives a lot of flexibility and freedom for the family members to join together and just have a chat. And hey, and there's a format out there that works for the family, all the better.
Yeah, I think that's cool. I think I listened to both episodes, and you guys are great. I mean, obviously we're not going to spend the whole episode patting each other on the back, but I just want to say you guys are great. It's a lot of fun. It's one of the things that I love about getting into the whole podcast thing. Obviously, meeting everybody in the chat, interacting with folks. Being the butt of Cam Ray's jokes is always a lot of fun as well. It's fantastic. I love it.
Yeah.
So I found a new podcast that I've been listening to, and I wanted to ask you, again, just to kind of expand our horizons.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Have you found any new podcasts that you'd like to kind of tell us about?
Yeah, actually, you know what? There was two of them. One, I don't want to, get too far into, talk about this guy, but Cam Ray, we all know, great guy, part of the Star Wars celebration, Star Wars community, creative and all around great guy. Actually, our latest episode has the Canny IO he did for us in our show. He was on Faking Star Wars just this past week. I think it was on Thursday. So Faking Star Wars is a new one that we've loaded into our playlist. So that was a great discovery, and it was fun to find them through Cam. And we also just recently, I think it's, let me see here. I'm just scrolling through my list as we speak. From a certain point of view, not our boys Adam and Josh, but a very similar name.
Oh yeah, are they in the chat? Our certain point of view. I know there's a couple.
Perhaps yes. That's perhaps yeah. So I just added them to our list as well, and that's the great thing about the community as well in Twitter, and maybe Facebook and Instagram. There's a lot of sharing, support, and all around good vibes from all the different shows that we have out there. And there's great, perspectives and different takes. And I always learn something new with all these different shows. So we try and do the same thing as well whenever we do our weekly AirPod Squad, mm-hmm. that we try and involve not just our family, of course, at Red 5, but also some of the great shows that we know out there. And we're always keeping an eye out for new shows.
Absolutely. So I just, first of all, Andrew is in the back room. We'll bring him out shortly. Andrew from Coruscant Radio Underground.
Cool.
And I posted a little while ago that I was expanding my horizons, but not too much because they're also another Star Wars podcast. But I was listening to Podcast of the Old Republic, and they are from, I think they're from, let's see here, where are they from? They're from across the pond, if you know what I mean. But anyways, they're talking about George Lucas's Star Wars and what that would have been. I told them earlier tonight that I've got some notes. I've been listening to them, so really, really great stuff. But yeah, I mean, Red 5 Network has a lot of podcasts under their belt, and I wish I had more time, but I've been driving. I've been, going back to work and kind of driving and putting everybody in the list, and yes, sirree. But let's bring Andrew out here because, he's there waiting. Hold on a second here. And Amanda just joined us, one of our patrons on the Scarab Scuttlebutt podcast. Thank you, Amanda, for joining us. Amanda, let me know if you want to join us on camera. We'd love to have you. We can chit-chat and talk about stuff. I guess that goes for anybody else. There's no requirements here. We just want to geek out. So, Andrew, how's it going?
What's going on?
Good to see you. Good to have you.
Yeah, good to be here.
What
Andrew.
So we were just talking about your Red 5 missions. I finished both of the episodes with you and Conversations. Really good stuff. But we're just talking about how some different podcasts that we found besides some Red 5s kind of expanding our horizons. Have you listened to anything new?
I've been listening to a few of the bigger Lord of the Rings podcasts out there lately, kind of as we've kind of been trying to get in that headspace to do our Tolkien month that we've been doing on the Science Fictionary. And some of those are some really good podcasts over there, but they don't seem to have much of a presence on Twitter. But they, seem to be pretty good sized podcasts.
They're smarter than us, I guess.
On most days.
Yep.
But it's funny, though, sometimes I'll scroll through and I'll see sometimes, obviously, a Star Trek post or a Star Trek account kind of sneak through my timeline, because obviously I follow a lot of Star Wars, a lot of, Marvel and stuff. And then I'll see one or two, Alita movie stuff or, Star Trek and stuff like that. And I always wonder if other fandoms have a similar, I guess, Twitter presence that obviously we're not part of for the most part, but it is interesting. It's kind of cool to see, everybody, whatever your nerdism is, that we all have a genuine liking to all that stuff. So I love that. So looks like the theaters are kind of back, huh?
Yeah.
Kong versus Godzilla. I know it was also available on HBO. What do they call it? HBO Max.
HBO Max. Yep.
Yeah. And I don't have that, so I went to the theater, and I really, I say it all the time. I love the theater experience, and this one was really good. Anybody see it in the theater?
I didn't, because ours hasn't reopened yet.
No.
And we didn't have time to go out of town last weekend. So, as you know, we're still, gutting ceilings in a house.
Lucky.
But,
right.
So we caught it on HBO Max, but I am definitely planning on getting back in the theater. And that's what I think is going to happen. I mean, I think even people who didn't realize how much they enjoyed the theater experience are now raring to go back to the theater.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think watching a movie at home, it's just kind of fun sometimes, but something about sitting in a darkened movie theater with other fans, other than just your wife or your kids or whatever, it's an exciting adventure. It's an exciting thing to do.
Yeah, it was just that kind of the excitement of that shared experience.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's cool. And then shared experience. Andrew, we were just talking about Celebration Chicago and how everybody is posting some great pictures of those events 2 years ago.
Yep.
This month, April 2019. What are some upcoming events that you're looking forward to, Andrew? I know, isn't there I think I saw somebody post the Huntsville something or other. There's a convention going on in Huntsville.
There's one going on up somewhere in Tennessee as well coming up, because Dominic Pace spoke about it the other night when we had him on. I think Daniel Logan is supposed to be at that one.
Cool.
And
he just started his leg in Hawaii.
Yeah. But the cons are coming back, at least for right now. Mississippi Comic-Con is still scheduled for June. And if it happens, Billy D will be there.
Cool.
But, I'm not sure which ones are going to happen, which ones are still going to get canceled this year. It's probably going to depend on what states they're in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do expect more cons to happen this year. I mean, I miss it. We usually do at least 3 a year with, usually capping it off with Dragon Con every fall.
Yeah.
And, man, we missed it. Now, I'm still not sure. I'm ready to get back to that kind of stuff. I'm still trying to decide how excited I am to go somewhere with 100,000 people.
Right. That's funny. I got you. I see you, Kevin. I see you. ScarifCon. It's coming.
That and I think we're going to go catch Dominic Pace when he comes to Houston.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to be in Tampa or St. Pete, August 7th, I think. And Pat and I are going to go up and see him there at Emerald City Comic Books. We've been there a couple of times. We found a couple of really rare Black Series figures up there because they don't post their inventory. So it's like, come and find what you find, and some traders come in and everything. So we found a General Grievous up there, and we've had some good success with some clones. So yeah, we're gonna go up and see him. We're preparing a little gift package for him already. So
awesome.
Yeah, we can't wait to see him.
He's gonna be where? St. Pete?
Yeah, well, it says Tampa on his schedule, but it's
Okay.
St. Petersburg at Emerald City Comic Books, August 7th.
Now, how far away is that from St. Pete Beach? Not too far, because when I go,
not far at all. Yeah,
I usually go to Florida, to St. Pete Beach in August. My father-in-law lives there, so we kind of go and hang out with him. Last year we had our family vacation, and I was going to travel up a little north past Treasure Island to see one of our good friends, Amanda, who just popped in the backstage, Jedi Caligula 89.
Cool.
But something happened. I don't know what happened, but let's bring her in and say hello to her.
Hey guys.
What's up?
Good evening.
What's going on?
Pretty
Thanks for
good.
joining. Thanks for joining us. How are you?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Just got done gaming actually, so.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
What'd you play?
Currently playing Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh, there you go.
So.
Andrew, are you familiar with that one?
We've talked about it. David's a big fan of the Cyberpunk stuff. I'm still just pretty much rolling Apex Legends when I'm playing right now. So
Yeah, it just got a brand new update, a new patch. So the game's running better on Xbox One now. When it launched, it ran terribly.
Yeah, well, that was one of the reasons when I heard the Xbox reviews when it first came out, because I don't game on PC.
Yeah.
And so when I saw the nightmare that was happening on the Xbox, I just said no, thank you.
Oh yeah, it was. I played it at launch and it was a nightmare. It was crashing. Now I can play it and it runs really well now. So.
Okay. I may have to check it out now then.
Yeah, whenever I feel like I need to be humbled, I'll turn on my Xbox and play Jedi Fallen Order.
I'm still playing Need for Speed from like 2002 or something. I don't know what.
2002.
Don't judge me, damn it! I love that game. It's like
Rose rocking the GameCube.
I know. It's like a mindless game. I love driving around and crashing into whatever. It's just kind of like a mindless fun. But we got a good question from Luke over at Hoth Off Podcast. Talking about Lord of the Rings. Are we excited for the Amazon's Lord of the Rings series? What do you guys know about that?
There's not a lot to know. The few rumors floating around out there make me really, really nervous.
Oh, really?
I'm a big Tolkien fan, and Tolkien, his story, the pureness of his stories, and when they start yelling about the next Game of Thrones, I'm going like, I hope when you say Game of Thrones, I hope you mean like in like the epicness of it.
Yeah.
And just how big it just being such a big deal, and not some of the other areas. But there was some talk about having hired like people to advise on relationships between characters, and you know, I don't know. You start putting sexual content in Tolkien stuff, it's going to get weird.
Wow.
Exactly. Exactly.
And of course that's all speculation based on who they've hired. It may not be that. But I'm hopeful because it could be amazing. But at the same time, there's a little bit of nervousness about. I know Tolkien fans are very, very hardcore. I mean, they're not as vocal, but there are a lot of hardcore Tolkien fans out there. And if they cross a line with this, it's gonna go over very poorly.
So let me ask you this: is this following a certain book or a certain series of books, or is this something extra that is outside of the films and projects?
This is pulling from Tolkien's histories of Middle-earth. So they're going back to the Second Age, the age when the Rings of Power were created. Ooh. So they're borrowing from the histories, the Unfinished Tales, the Silmarillion. So they're kind of going back and taking partial stories where we kind of have a broad view history of what happened in that area and filling in the blanks.
Isn't it supposed to be like the Rise of Sauron or something, possibly?
If it's in the Second Age, that could certainly play a role.
Yeah.
Is there a timeline for that? Like when they're projecting it to be live or like available?
It's already like a year late. So I'm still I don't know if they're still looking at later this year or if we're looking all the way into 2022. Basically, the Tolkien estate had given them a deal where if they didn't start filming by summer of 2020, the estate got it back.
Oh.
And so they pushed forward and started filming, and then like a month later fired almost the entire production staff. So because it just something was not going right, and I don't know if the estate pushed them into that, or the estate has pretty tight reins on that stuff. Of course, Christopher Tolkien passed last year, so we don't even really know who is pulling the strings over at the estate right now.
Wow.
I was going to ask: is it direct family members, or is it just like a group,
it has traditionally been family members. The last round of it was really handled when the movies were made. When the Lord of the Rings movies were made, it was largely Christopher Tolkien, who's Tolkien's son, and then Christopher Tolkien's son. Now, they actually had a falling out over it and did not speak for years. And I don't know if they I believe they reconciled before Christopher passed away last year. But they had a big falling out over the movies being made at all.
So it's the grandson of Tolkien now, sort of.
So right now, as far as I'm aware, two of the grandsons, one of Christopher's sons and one of his nephews, are kind of the guys heading things up now.
Imagine having that last name, like going to a DMV or something, and just I'm Tolkien.
Or an idea for a book.
I would just go by my last name if I had that name.
We'll come up with a symbol for you.
No first name, like Madonna. I am Tolkien.
I was going with Prince, but okay, that works.
So I wanted to ask you guys: are you guys caught up on Winter Soldier?
I am.
Winter Soldier.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
How are you guys liking it? Let's go around the table. Charles, go.
I like it. I won't say I love it. I think that this week's episode was probably the best one that for me since the first episode.
Yeah.
I think the two middle episodes. I you know what I'm really trying to take myself back from what I'm seeing and looking at it as like sort of a chapter or as a larger story that we're expecting from the MCU. So I'm trying to keep that perspective as well, and lore building and that kind of stuff. And Zemo's been awesome, but it's also hard not to look at it and say, look, I also want to be entertained for almost an hour, and it's still good. Like I'm saying, it's not a bad thing, but I actually, my wife got home and she's like, oh, that's right, Winter Soldier's on this night. I said, oh yeah, I forgot. It rarely happens. If I'm into a series, that doesn't happen. So I'm liking it, but it's certainly not my favorite thing.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a valid point. Andrew?
So there are things that I really do love about the series. There's also some things that just, I don't know where, I think I know what they're going for, but they're not quite landing.
Now, is that because, now that we are in the streaming platform, it almost seems like, and, Daredevil had this issue, Punisher had this issue where, now we've got this much time to tell a story, and before we had this much time in movies.
Right.
So is that issue with you because they're stretching it out?
That could be some of it. There are a couple of scenes where I almost feel like there's some stuff got cut out that makes the scenes not land right.
Yeah, and I remember, I don't know if I heard it on your podcast, but I heard that, I think it was over on the Salty Nerd podcast, where the plot was going to be a little different, and it had to do with a virus, but then they got shut down because of COVID, and then they had to switch things around. So that might have been a little truncated.
It could have been.
Scenes.
The things that I love, I've always been a fan of the Winter Soldier character, and I love the development that they've done with Bucky. I also think Zemo is rapidly becoming one of the most interesting villains in the MCU.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's the villain, but he's got a code. And, villains with a code are always kind of interesting. And of course, he is what he is. He's always the smartest guy in the room.
Yeah.
And they're doing that. And they're doing that very, very well. Things I don't like, there's some stuff that they're doing. It's mostly stuff that they're doing with the Flag Smashers, where, like this week, they had Carly talking to Sam's sister, whose name I can't recall. And she's she says one thing, the sister says one thing, and then Carly's like, I'm starting to like, I think I'm starting to like you. And it's like, she didn't really say anything.
Right.
And that's why I'm saying there's like a couple of places where they're trying to compare the plight of a couple of different people groups, but they're not, something's not landing in that. Now, I do think that the Flag Smashers are pawns in whatever's happening, and maybe they're not, some of that's just not as big of a deal that it's not landing.
Sure. Yeah. Amanda, what about you?
Well, the Falcon and Winter Soldier, it's I like it, but yet I don't like it. It isn't drawing me in near as much as WandaVision did, and I'm a big Captain America fan, and this show is just not hitting it. Now, episodes 3 and 4 to me were way better. The first 2 episodes I thought really dragged. But the introduction of Zemo, I think, is what helped pick up the show, in my opinion. So.
And he can dance.
Exactly. Yeah. The part that I'm really interested in is actually John Walker. He's the guy that's really, to me, the most intriguing in the show.
Well, yeah, I mean, they really they were building up to doing a lot with him, and they finally, he's had the serum. He's crossed the line now.
Yeah.
And, they defiled the symbol that is the shield. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be very interesting to see what the fallout of that is.
Yes.
And the cool thing is that that last episode was called what is it called? The Whole World is Watching.
Yeah, I think so.
And
yeah, I think so.
I think that's really interesting in this modern age of social media, where the horrible thing that happened was it New York, that an Asian woman was beat up and nobody went to go help her. Yeah. And everybody takes out their phone first before actually going to help, and which is terrible. But
also a crime.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's go back. I'm enjoying the series, and I think I'm enjoying it actually more so than WandaVision for several reasons. But let's go back. I want to bring attention to a post that our friend Michael over at plexreel.com put up. He said something about John Walker. He asked if we thought he was a tragic character or what type of character, and I kind of put in the response that he's a character that lacks humility, but also a military guy who has seen some shit. And Brad, also kind of my Brad, Scuttlebutt Brad, talked about mental health in the military and stuff like that. So there's a lot of things playing with this character. And I think, once again, getting back to, John Walker was a military guy and he saw some very strong things that kind of affected him in a certain way. But there's also this other stuff where it does seem like he's kind of arrogant. Obviously, like you said, he crossed the line, he took the serum, and now he did what he did. Hope everybody in the chat saw the episode. But it's, people are calling him an anti-hero. Blake Gordon, our friend Blake, said he was an anti-hero. Somebody named Yanni Yater says that he has internal insecurities. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff happening with him. And, we didn't like him from the get-go for a reason, and I think it's starting to play out. We'll see how that develops, but what do you guys think? Do you think that he's going to really become like the antagonist of the series, or what?
I think that he's going to play an antagonist for a while. I'm not sure what his end role in the whole thing is. In the comics, he's kind of a villain, but he kind of comes around at some point and does become that hero. It's kind of a matter of how you look at good versus evil. I don't think he fits the classic anti-hero trope.
No.
The guy that will do he's going to do the right thing. He may use questionable means to do it. The Punisher. But what we're seeing him do is not the right thing.
It's not even the right thing. If you compared him with the Punisher, it's not even the right thing the way the Punisher does it. I think, I don't know, that last scene really shook me as far as
right.
Yeah.
Well, it's like Anakin killing younglings. It's that moment where you go, okay, now we know who this guy is.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
It's I mean, I think that right now they're telling us he is the villain. Now, I think can the villain eventually become a hero? Yeah. Yeah, we see redemption stories, and I would love to see a redemption arc. We haven't really done a lot of redemption arcs in the MCU.
Yeah.
True.
But as far as it's like, yeah, he's seen some stuff, but so did Bucky and Cap.
Sure.
For that matter, so did Falcon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they remain good men. I think it all goes back to what we were originally told about the serum. Good becomes great, and bad becomes worse.
Sure.
Yeah, that's a good point, and that's something that I forgot about.
I had a coworker who was we were talking about the show, and he was a huge Captain America fan, and was familiar with John Walker and U.S. Agent, the character he was portraying, at least in the comic books. And he, just like Andrew said, he characterized him as in the comic runs as Punisher, having that dark streak, but ultimately sort of serving the greater good with questionable means. So to see the end of the show the way it happened, and I can see, the shield right over Andrew's head there, with that, with it coming off of it, it was certainly jarring, but could also set up, especially, I mean, we have 2 more episodes, right? And if
2 more.
Yeah, 2 more.
So if the first action of this character's redemption, of the arc at least that point, starts off with this and then goes to the end, it's going to be a quick run. Oh, now what did Cam say?
It's that revelation. It's that revelation, Charles.
I'm just going to go off camera and cry. Just a second. Hey, everybody.
But yeah, it's one of those shows that, like I said, I'm enjoying it a lot more. That first episode was very interesting. It almost seemed like it was a cut scene from, one of the Avengers movies. I mean, what's that other war? The other character's name. He was in the Avengers, but
War Machine.
War Machine, yeah. Cheadle was in it, and it like I said, it seemed like almost like a added scene that they cut out from the Avengers and they put it in here, and I thought it was really great. Obviously, the opening scene of the very first episode was like, wow, this is like they spared no expense, but I'm really liking the dynamic between the 2 characters, the 2 title characters, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I really love them as actors. I wanted to ask you guys if you guys had any thought on who the power broker is. Do you think that we still haven't seen him, or do we still do we think that that he or she may have been? We might have seen him already. The other thing I wanted to ask you guys was like right here. But okay, the flag smashers, yes, they almost seem like revolutionaries. Like they're not really bad guys, but they're trying something that they feel is benevolent or good. So
Right.
Yeah.
we'll see how that plays out. I know they're using the serum to kind of further their agenda. But like I said, let's see how that plays out. But who do you guys think the power broker is? Do you think we've seen him already?
I totally think the power broker is Sharon Carter.
Yes, exactly.
I really think that, especially with that scene when she's getting in the car with the woman, and she says something like, "We need to talk." Something
or
important's
she's
happening.
she's still working for Shield.
I think she's still working for Fury.
Yeah.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah. I feel like Sharon is still working for someone. It could be the power broker, but Sharon is working for someone.
Yeah.
I don't think Sharon's the power broker. I do think, as far as, there was a lot of talk about someone coming back from the past and of, being repurposed. And as far as the ones that have come up, Zola makes the most sense.
I'm going with Mephisto.
Mephisto.
No, Charles,
You got to be careful about mentioning him when you're doing live streams. The last time I did that, he showed up in the feed.
And Charles, any answer you give has to be Queen Amidala.
Well, this is true. I sang. C. Queen Amidala. The final answer.
Well, okay, so if Sharon is either the power broker or working with S.H.I.E.L.D., wouldn't you think Nick Fury would be the one that pops up at the end of all of this?
Probably.
You think, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's a possibility. Of course, we know that Fury is probably still on, whether that's the lunar base or a space station.
Yeah,
I
isn't
tend
he
to
still
think
in
that's
space?
the lunar shield base, which is where we think that probably Monica Rambeau and possibly even White Vision left to go at the end of WandaVision. So we could get another connection to that, because they're definitely fixing to start expanding into the cosmic universe. But I think these characters are more grounded than that. I don't know if you recall, but when Zola, at some point, even in Zola's possession, in the comics, he has a robot body that the computer version of himself lives in. We actually saw a sketch of that in his papers at one point in one of the earlier films. So there is a good possibility that Zola is still around and was someone who had been very close to completing a version of the serum in the past and could have helped this new guy accomplish that.
Yeah.
And it's those types of conjectures, fan theories. I don't want to say fan theories necessarily, but the threads that they're giving us make the show, like I said at start, I'm not a huge fan of it. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
But those side pieces of the show itself and the potential for how far reaching it goes, that's some of the foundation of what makes it really exciting. If you expand outside of the show and it's episode 4 of a 6 run, there's possibility to get out there and have some cool interactions with other characters and then blow the story even bigger.
Exactly. It keeps wanting you come back to more to see what's going to happen in the next episode.
100% right. Yeah.
And that's kind of one of my things with what actually, because I really do like this show, but I think why it feels like things are missing is maybe there's too many pieces moving around with multiple villains. Now by the end, it might all come together, but we've got the new Captain America, we've got the Flag Smashers, we've got Sharon Carter and the Power Broker, there's a lot of stuff going on to cover in 8 episodes.
There's a lot of pieces to this puzzle that haven't been resolved yet.
Right. So, now, by the end, it may turn out that it all meshes together really, really well. Yeah. Because it may all be more connected than it looks like on the front.
And they have that pedigree, and that they've shown that they can pull that together, and that's the ultimate hope and even then tying in, like you said, WandaVision, and aside from them being up in the lunar base, there's still Wanda herself, like as a potential. And I almost, as a joke, I was going to say the ultimate villain is going to be Wanda, but jury's still out on her and how she's going to fit back into the story. But before we even can blink, we have Loki coming out. So
Yeah.
Andrew, it's very interesting the way you said that. It's like, are there too many pots on the stove?
Yeah, and it could be that, but if this is setting up a lot of stuff that's coming down the pipe in the next couple of years, then we are kind of relaunching as we begin phase 4. We wrapped those first 3 phases, wrapped everything up pretty neatly. Mm-hmm. So it may be that they're using this show to set the stage for a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way they introduced Madripoor without thinking about the X-Men.
The future. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
I mean, we even went to the bar that Wolverine is known to frequent. So,
yeah.
I mean, a lot of little things with doing Madripoor is a big deal.
Yeah, and Cam's got something to say. Obviously, he's got a point. There's a lot to wrap up in 2 episodes.
Yeah, it's a great point.
Yeah.
Like you guys said, I mean, Loki is coming. I'm sure we'll get some other, Marvel stories on streaming. So it'll be interesting. And I know, streaming is an interesting storytelling method. I think, I don't think in the annals of storytelling we've seen this type of how these movies and these films, these properties are being told. Like I said, we're used to these 2-hour, movies where everything has to kind of wrap up between those 2 hours. And we've got streaming where everything is stretched out. So it's it could be a double-edged sword. They might be stretching out things where, they can probably tidy it up a little bit, but I have a feeling, they do have a great record of kind of tying things together. Mm-hmm. It's the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's not their first rodeo. So I'm looking forward to see how this kind of plays out. I'm looking forward to Loki. Hiddleston is an amazing actor. I really love the stuff. I love him as Loki. Mm-hmm. And it should be a lot of fun.
Pat and I were talking this weekend about how are they going to roll the X-Men into all this, and I grew up loving the X-Men and the classic runs in early '80s and late '80s, and that's going to be nervous but also extremely excited for, and that's going to give me a whole new appreciation, hopefully, for the streaming service where 80% of these things are going to be on the streaming service, and then you got a movie, a flagpole movie in the theaters in the next few years would be fantastic.
I mean, talk about, you mentioned a lot of pots on the stove. I mean, with the X-Men, you got the Avengers, you got all these characters. I mean, they're going to have to kind of, master the art of juggling here.
True.
I mean, even the Endgame series, the 2 last films were, jam-packed with characters. Mm-hmm. But I feel they did a really great job with balancing that out. I think Endgame was really great. The acting was top notch for a comic book movie, and I know a lot of people jury's out on comic book movies and the seriousness of it, but I think it's the seriousness of those last 2 films that really elevated the storytelling. And speaking of elevating stories, we've got Todd Hoffman from WSTR in the back room. Let's bring him out. My fellow Chicagoan, how you doing, Mr. Todd?
Todd! Yes!
Unmute.
Can't hear you.
While he figures that out, what else can we talk about? So thank you again. Just wanted to give everybody a shout out from the chat. Cam, Ray, Luke. We've got who else joined us? Certain point of view. Let's see here.
Can you hear me now?
There you go. Perfect.
Woo!
Perfect.
Sorry, first time podcaster. Sorry.
Yeah. Welcome. You should. I'm sure there's tutorials on YouTube on how to, how to podcast. So
thanks
for joining us.
Thank you.
There have been some pictures. I don't know if they were leaked or strategically released. They're pictures from a shooting location in London. There are folks that are dressed up as Imperial Security Bureau officers. Looks like people might be interpreting those pictures as the first on-location pictures of the Andor series, getting back to Star Wars talk now that we've got Todd. I, for one, am super excited to get back into the Star Wars world now that we have to kind of wait a really long time for more Mando. But what do you guys think about the Andor series coming up? Todd, let's start with you, Mr. Star Wars.
Oh, thanks, man. No, I'm super excited. I mean, real locations, real sets. It's going to be awesome. So obviously, all the technology that they've learned from Mando and are going to apply it here in Andor it's going to be cool. It's going to be awesome. Can't wait to see what the story is going to unfold. And basically, we get a mini series, but it's still going to be like a very long movie. So super excited for that.
I'm extremely excited, and I know I'm a big technology guy, so I know I love the advent of the volume. Although I do want to say that there always seemed to me that there was something missing, whether it was live location, sets, etc. We did get a glimpse of the sets that were constructed for Andor and the Kenobi series. They are massive. It's almost like a Disneyland of location of sets. And I, for one, am really excited about that, seeing seeing actual sets and places that actors can kind of interact. I'm always fascinated by that process, and I think getting back to that is good for Star Wars, because Star Wars is kind of a visceral visual thing, and I know you love your green screen back there, Charles, but you got to get out of the studio once in a while.
Real environments.
I'm enjoying my hucks. Thank you very much.
But Amanda, is Andor Star Wars streaming? Is this something that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, I really enjoyed Rogue One. It's probably my favorite Disney movie so far that they've done. Probably my favorite Disney property, period. I actually like it more than Mandalorian, if that doesn't sound crazy.
It doesn't. I'm right there with you.
So Andor, I'm really looking forward to. I kind of want to see where. I'm curious to know exactly how long before Rogue One this will be. Is it directly before, to kind of get a viewpoint of him and his darker rebel agent kind of thing.
Well, I think you're going to get a good stretch there, because it sounded like they had cast a child to play young Cassian. So
oh, really? Okay.
I think you're going to get a good piece of how he ended up.
Okay.
He talks about having been in this fight since he was a kid. So
exactly.
I think we're going to get to so we're going to see some of that, I think, and then kind of maybe in flashbacks or something else. But
well, correct me if I'm wrong. In the Rogue One novelization, doesn't it mention he was on the Separatist fight as a kid? Or am I wrong?
I never read that one. That's interesting if it is. Wow.
Yeah, I'm almost positive.
I do think you're right on that.
Yeah.
And that does make the most sense. I do think that's right.
Yeah, okay. So that would be kind of interesting if it started off there during the Clone Wars.
Wow.
The Clone Wars? Okay.
Yeah, I totally agree with Amanda. I think that you've got Rogue One as potentially being the Empire Strikes Back of the Disney era.
Yeah.
Universally loved, a great story, endearing characters, and I cannot wait for that show. And I'd say the same thing about Kenobi, but it's gonna have such a rich backstory to these characters. Their ultimate end, but how they got to that point, like Andrew was saying, a young 6-year-old who looks like Diego Luna, we're looking for you because this is where it starts. And seeing that march of the character from where he begins all the way to the end is going to be fantastic to see.
What do you guys think about K2 not being in it, though? Is that a swerve?
Season two.
Well, here's
I
the
think
thing.
that'll be interesting because I mean,
Yeah.
I'd like to at some point see that meeting.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I think
absolutely,
we will.
absolutely.
I think we will.
Yeah.
I think it's a swerve. I think we're getting played a little bit. So.
I mean, I think
so, too. I think
this one we have the potential to see all kinds of people in this one.
yes, yeah,
Yeah, we do.
yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to that. I mean, they could have all sorts of surprises waiting for us with who could show up.
I just want to say a great thank you to our Jedi Master Luke Skywalker for showing up in the chat. Thank you very much, Master Skywalker.
Oh,
Is
it's always
he a
good to
Jedi
have
now?
Luke. Yeah.
Yeah, it's always good.
Yes.
Welcome, Master Skywalker.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think
for sure.
Andrew, you kind of hit it though. I mean, we have a potential of seeing a lot of different things, and I think what makes Rogue One so much fun is that we get to see the Empire at its finest, and and we get to see the bickering and the political maneuvering that like Tarkin did for Krennic, and Krennic's like not having it, and that stuff.
Yeah.
I would love to see more of, and just like the political part of the Empire is fascinating to me. So I think any more Empire, I'm all in. I know we're the Red 5 network, but I'm all Empire all the way.
Absolutely.
Look at the shirt you're wearing too. Very nice.
I know I represent too, but
I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
It's I always say it on the Scarif podcast. I think Rogue One is a love letter to Star Wars fans. I really, I love the fact that they showed us a little bit more of the inner workings of how the Empire and the underworld kind of are working together. No, that was in Solo, but still.
Well, one of the things they
Rum.
literally the one of the coolest things I think is you see the kind of ultimate destruction of Jeddah, and they literally should have just had champagne glasses when they're watching that happen because it was a good person. It's like those are the kind of things that makes the Empire just like evil and haunting, and I just love that kind of stuff, and I love to see a little bit more of that. And I think again, what is interesting about Rogue One is that we see a rebel kill somebody that you don't get to see. You didn't see that in obviously the original trilogy, and so I think Cassie Andor's speech really about hey, we've done all things that are bad, but we still want to fight the good fight. I think that's what we're going to see here more, and I think that's kind of interesting that wars are not pretty. So there's going to be blood on each side, and I think that's going to be interesting to kind of play out a little bit more. And you have a great format to tell the long story in Disney Plus.
Yeah.
You hit the nail right on the head, Todd. I love that duality. The original trilogy, obviously, the bad guys were bad, the good guys were good, and they were on opposite ends of the corner of the ring here. But you've got someone like Cassian Andor, who in the first kind of scene in Rogue One,
about 3 minutes in,
right, assassinates this guy because he doesn't want to get
just for
found out.
information.
And I get it. I mean, it's a great plot point. It's like, I don't want to get discovered. You're a little bit too nervous. I'm going to have to kill you. And it's fascinating. It's
all about gloves too. I mean, Cassian didn't have his gloves. I mean, it's just, these are things.
But that's going to be the fun thing about doing a spy movie or a spy show, because you are dealing with characters that have to make decisions that your average soldier's not making.
Right. And
there's
go ahead, Charles.
I was going to say, like, you got those two books too. You got Catalyst and Rebel Rising. Those two Rogue One prequel books. I haven't read Rebel Rising yet. That's on my list very shortly. But Catalyst was fantastic in giving the backstory to how Urso was how that started with Krennic. And if those can be peppered in as well, it'll just give more oomph to that, like I said, ultimate story to what we saw in Rogue One. But also could be some really cool interweavings for Andor.
Yeah. Well, Rebel Rising was great because it gave you that backstory of Jin with Saw Gerrera and everything.
Yes.
So honestly, as much as we all love, we love Rogue One,
Yeah.
The books that lead up to Rogue One are some of the, as far as books that are meant to lead into a movie in this current era of Star Wars, the books that lead into Rogue One are some of the best
They
ones
are.
at doing
Yeah.
that.
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's just
And
again, books are there for character
Sure.
development, and you get those. You get to
Yeah.
see young Jin, you get to see Krennic and Urso. Like
Yeah.
their kind of connection there, and I love that. Maybe we'll see a little bit more of that. Galen and Krennic. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
What about Saw Gerrera?
Oh.
That dude crazy, man. That dude is crazy.
But he's in Rebel Rising. I didn't.
Yes.
Manage to see he was in
Yes.
Rebel Rising. Okay, I have to read.
Yes.
Oh
He's
man,
in Rebel Rising.
That's
Yeah.
a great book.
I got to read that.
Great book.
Yeah, it's great.
I have not read Catalyst, but Rebel Rising I did.
Rogue.
Catalyst is great.
Fantastic
Catalyst is
novel.
fantastic. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you call yourself the Scarif Scuttlebutt, and you're not even reading Rogue One stuff. Come on, man.
Maybe you and Cam can do like a dual audio reading.
Andrew knows my story about reading, so I'll have to improve on my skills here. Let's see. We got what do we got? Let's see. Moab's fan says, I'm curious, Tim, on our certain point of view, has been talking about the value of bringing the vintage shows to Disney Plus, like Caravan of Courage, Battle of Endor. Ovi, to hear you guys' thoughts. Ovi, you start.
Over to love to hear your guys' thoughts. Ding, ding, ding. I got
Winning.
I know there has been some great excitement of bringing some of the older Star Wars shows or the movies like Caravan of Courage and Battle of Endor. I love me some Ewoks, and the fact that they are on Disney Plus. I mean, I've got my DVDs, so I'm set. But,
right. Yeah.
people were like, losing their minds and like, oh my God, I can watch the Battle for Endor and Caravan of Courage. I'm like, where the hell have you been, man? I got my standard def DVDs here, baby. Come on. But I mean, it's great.
And Rose gone.
Yeah.
Bro's frozen.
Yeah, he's frozen.
He's
YouTube
frozen.
didn't like the comment.
He's frozen on DVD right there, man. I mean, I think it's great. I think again, the when you have, you need the whole library, really, and that's a really good way to have that. And Disney Plus, as these things come available, I mean, they should. I mean, the fact that they brought the cartoon from the holiday special or just one step closer to getting that on Disney Plus. But I mean, the Ewoks, Ewoks cartoons, okay, maybe not, but they're going to bring them on. That's fine. That's cool. But I mean, Genndy Clone Wars is, it's it's just a masterclass in animation and a masterclass of storytelling. And if you don't know the backstory of that, I mean, they basically did a commercial break for those for like 2 minutes for a while, and they say, okay, here's this micro series, and literally like 2 minutes, and like the season finale was like 8 minutes. You're like, oh my gosh, we got 8 minutes, but it's literally the best 8 minutes of animation.
Yeah.
It's fantastic, and
wasn't that the first appearance of General Grievous?
Yes.
It was.
And technically, you find out that that's why he's wheezing is because Mace like crushed his chest.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
But it's unfortunately the only place where we see Grievous actually kick some total tail and take some names. I really liked how they made Jedi into superheroes. I think it's a fantastic way of looking at that, and they do a little bit of that in Clone Wars. I mean, Anakin's jumping from, the battle droid speeder bikes from 1 to 1 and is like in the middle of the air. And like, even with season 7, we have Ahsoka jumping from gunship to gunship. And we got to see a little bit of that in Genndy's Clone Wars. You're like, oh my gosh, these Jedi could do all this funny stuff. It's like Mace, like doing like 1,000 punches to all these battle droids. I mean, it's fantastic.
Yeah, I think that those additions to the Disney Plus service, we're sitting here talking Star Wars, and I look at Tartakovsky's animated series is like, it's fantastic. It's not canon, but it's really cool. It's all that kind of stuff. But for the regular people who are watching Disney Plus and just enjoying Star Wars for being Star Wars, you've got all these massively different levels of entry points. That can only mean great things for Star Wars in general, because you have it doesn't matter if it's canon or not. It's still great fun entertainment. I remember watching the Ewoks, the Ewok Adventure live. I'm old, okay. But
right, yeah.
His rifle, when it was failing and running out of juice, I remember like, how could this guy I'm literally very viscerally afraid for him. It's like, he doesn't have anything left in that gun. It's done. What's he gonna do? I'm panicking about it. But those are great memories, but they're still fun stories for kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we get to see we get to see a blurg too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, this is connection. It's all coming together. I think it's good. I mean, anything that Star Wars technically should be on there, man, and it just gives like you said, it gives a really good entry point for everybody. Like, oh, this is other things. I mean, again, if you like Clone Wars and you see this cartoon, I think it's a great other thing, even though it's technically not canon. But hey, they're just canon now, so that is fantastic.
He is now. Yeah.
And so I think that's part of it. Is like, hey, we have a wealth of information out there in the EU, and as they start kind of bringing some of the stuff into the canon, it's good to see some of those sources. Like, Asia Ventress she looks like a ghost, and she looks awesome. And I think there's all those kind of cool things that you get to pick, like just see characters in different ways.
Yeah. We just finished our Dooku episode and talked about how he first met Asajj, and I prefer the way he met her in that series, because it's just it's really cool. It's like this sort of like secret combat series, and it was just
Gladiator. It's like Gladiator.
Exactly. It's really cool. And like you said, Todd, before, it's a masterclass in storytelling and an animation that's just completely separate from the Clone Wars that we all know and love, yet still work their magic into it as well.
Yeah.
All right, who's playing Ro and who's playing Ro? He had notes, apparently.
Yeah, right. Captain, left the ship.
Yeah, so
well, you guys are used to doing podcasts. I'm the newbie, so it's up to you guys.
Okay. Well,
there's talks amongst yourselves.
All right, here's the deal. All right, so 2 years ago, we had Star Wars Celebration. Last time we were able to connect. So why don't we talk about that a little bit? Now, Charles, I know you were there, and I was there, and I didn't even know you then. So what was your
5 days we were there? 5 days. 5
days I was there, and I didn't know you then. So what were some of your highlights there, Charles? Start with you.
We spoke about this like a little bit before. It was the camaraderie that we sensed immediately being there. The Last Jedi was divisive, and we all know that. And we talked about it. How was that mood going to be at Celebration? We were going there.
Were you scared? Were you scared?
Well, we talked about it. We literally talked about it. Like, it's be interesting to see how this is going to play out. We got sort of a bad taste in the mouth. But we got there Thursday night, and we just went up and looked where the store was going to be, and you saw the posters and the signage there, and it's like, oh wow, this is going to be real. This is huge, because I had never been to the center there, and it sort of just went away because you saw Star Wars fans, you saw some 501st wearing their shirts, so you got this sense that, hey, this is going to be a building to a really cool memory. And from day one. We did one of our first interviews for the show there, and day one, all of that was gone. It was about people enjoying Star Wars. Didn't matter about the Last Jedi. It was completely gone, and it reignited the community for us that we had not one iota of clue of how big it was until after we left, and everyone that we know now is far away. We didn't know them, but it was a wonderful experience of seeing everyone come together and not having any side story of a negative experience. It was glorious.
It was wow, glorious.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, Andrew, were you ever at Celebration? Did you go Celebration Chicago?
No, we weren't. We didn't make it to Chicago. The last one I made it to was Orlando. The last time in Orlando.
Okay. So that was 2017 or
yeah, I think
2017 it was.
Yeah. And
Yep.
how was that your first and only celebration, or have you been to other celebrations?
No, that was the only one I've been able to go to.
And what was your experience like that?
Oh, I mean, it was great. I mean, we've been to some big cons, but typically when you go to a con, it's kind of like you go in and there's just all kinds of different stuff, and you kind of have to decide what you're going to do.
Yeah.
And like going to Dragon Con, you go to Dragon Con and you really have to like plan, like I want to do this and really plan it out to do what you want to do. There's lots
of dragons there. It's weird,
but at Celebration, you walk in and it's a massive convention as big as any convention you've been to, and it's all Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sort of overwhelming, but it's also like, the kid in the candy store. It's like you just run in. It's like I don't have to think about like finding what I want to do. It's all here. It's all Star Wars, and we had a great time. Of course, we had all 3 kids with us. They did their cosplay thing and had a great time, and of course they always get mobbed when they're in their Star Wars costumes. But walking around with my oldest daughter in her Black Invasion dress, her Padme's Black Invasion dress. I mean, it was, you couldn't walk 5 feet without getting mobbed. Nice. So of course when it was funny when they first started doing that, it was like, well, I want to like wear something normal tomorrow so I don't have to take all these pictures. And like 30 minutes into like not wearing a costume the next day, they were like, can we go back to the hotel and put on a costume? Because nobody's asking to take pictures with us.
I'm just normal. I'm like in my street clothes.
Right.
No one can take my picture. Yeah.
But we had an absolute blast.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, Amanda, have you ever been?
Yeah, I've been to every celebration that's been in Orlando. So I think that's 3.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I went to celebrations before they were cool.
Okay. Okay. Well, before the internet, before the social media.
Yeah. The last one, which was in 2017. I remember we were in line to see Anthony Daniels. It was my first time seeing him, and the panel was going for The Last Jedi, and we hadn't been able to get into it because the line, and we just didn't get in. So we were in line, and all of us were huddled around one cell phone that had signal. Because the signal was terrible.
Right. Okay.
The live stream, and the first trailer for The Last Jedi aired, and it was just an amazing atmosphere to be around other Star Wars fans huddled around one person's Samsung cell phone, watching this trailer, and then afterwards just getting like so emotional and going, "Oh my God, this is it," and it was probably the best moment ever. It's just sitting around with a bunch of fans watching a brand new trailer.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that's cool. That's super cool. Yeah, that's cool. Well, my celebration experience, I went to Celebration 2 and 3 in Indianapolis.
So that was way before it was
before the internet.
The dark times.
The dark times.
Well, actually, probably the light times.
Right, yeah. And that for me at that time, was my first introduction to 501st. I never knew that you could do that, and that set off like a lifelong journey for me to be in the 501st, and it was just cool. Like kind of the same it's kind of the same thing you were saying, Amanda. It's just like, just like getting to see new trailers, getting to meet new people. Like people are just like really cool, and I'm just like, there's other people that like Star Wars just like me, and then that was a really cool experience. And then I got to experience that with my oldest, who was at the time 6 or 7. So Clone Wars, Gundam Clone Wars just happened, and like it was like a cool experience. And and it was funny too because for Celebration 2, Spider-Man just came out. Toby, the original Toby Spider-Man came out.
Yeah.
So we went to see that, and then so my son Jordan was like Spider-Man and the Jedi like all weekend. He was like just loving it. So that was cool. But then I probably lost my mind when they announced that it was going to be in Chicago. I screamed really loud on the train and probably scared people. I'm like, it's in Chicago. So it was like, because I really thought it was going to be in California. I thought Anaheim, Anaheim is like, it's going to be Anaheim. And then when they announced Chicago for 2019, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's going to be Chicago. So obviously a lot has changed from, 2005 to 2019. So it was interesting coming back to it. And like I said, I'm so bummed. Like a lot of my new friends from the internet were there, like Charles, like I could have met him, but, got to see the Running the Hoods, which was fantastic.
Oh,
and,
that's always great.
And obviously, I somehow, luckily, I got all the panels. So I was able to...
Wow, you were lucky.
Yeah, the force was strong. The force was strong that weekend because I got in every panel, and so it was great, seeing the Rise of Skywalker trailer with other people and seeing Ian McDermott come out. It was like going to church, man. It was it was awesome, and then obviously like I think Sunday probably with Mandalorian panel I was so excited for that show, and then just seeing that panel was awesome.
Yeah.
So it's a fun time, and Andrew nailed it on the head. Like with any major con, there's so many things to see, but when it's just Star Wars, it's just it's amazing. It's just amazing.
Yeah, I had to live through my father for a couple of them. My dad is huge Star Wars fan.
Yeah,
he is 501st. He's usually Vader.
Nice.
And
nice. Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he did a stormtrooper for a while, but at like 6'5", he's a little tall for a stormtrooper.
Yeah.
He's a little tall. I'm coming in at 5'7". I'm perfectly short for a stormtrooper.
But yeah, when he would go to things, because he's marched at Disney and he's done some other things, and it's like when he was doing his stormtrooper, they were like, "Okay, don't stand next to Vader." Like, but I mean, he's been to a couple of celebrations as well, and so he had me really fired up to go. And when Orlando rolled around, he was like, "You need to go." And so that we got it together then, and it went when we we wanted to go, but then when he was like, "You got to go this time," it's like, okay, we're gonna go.
You got to go.
Todd.
Hey, Ro, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Yeah, welcome back.
So you were in Indianapolis then, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, for both
so was
Celebration
I.
2 and 3. Yeah, see, we could have ran into each other.
And you went to go see the Spider-Man movie?
Yes.
The movie theater was right across the street. It was next to our hotel.
Correct. Yeah.
Oh my god.
And
Oh my god.
did you also get to hang out with Daniel Logan and the choreographer of the episode 1 stunt battle with what's his name, Nick Gillard at the bar?
No, I wasn't there.
No, you missed that one, huh?
I missed that one. Yeah. But I did get up. I did like for Celebration 3. I got up at like 2:00 in the morning and waited in line with like a bunch of other people to get the exclusive like Darth Vader one, the Darth Vader action figure that had like new recorded lines from James Earl Jones. So I might have bought a case of them. So
there you go.
Now,
There's no shame. There's no shame. Do you remember
were those early celebrations?
So
just out of curiosity.
yeah. I mean, they were still big. I mean, for Celebration 2 and 3, it was at the RCA Dome, which is like demolished now, but in Indianapolis. But I mean, it was still cool. I mean, it was.
I think
big.
the only one that really wasn't crowded was Denver because it was rainy and muddy and nobody knew about it.
I mean, it says 34,000 people attended Celebration 3.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, now I don't even know how many. I assume it's probably closer to 70 now.
Yeah.
But
But
Do you remember the rumors that morning? Somebody had spread the rumor, and it was circulating around the local Indiana media that George Lucas was going to show up.
yes, yeah,
Wow.
yeah, and he
I
did.
lost my mind.
He did.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, and he did. I mean, and that's
Yeah.
and a funny and that in the Celebration 3 interview, he mentions the live action stuff. He's like, they're working on scripts, and that's where you get that the thing that's popped up like 2 years ago or a year ago about the Underworld thing where they shot that.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a pitch to figure out if there was some traction there, you know?
Sure.
All that, I mean, again, the special editions and everything like that, that was to see, let's see if there's people interested in Star Wars, and a lot of people went to see those.
Even,
and, you know,
even before that,
Yeah.
the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles.
Yes.
I mean, all that stuff.
all that stuff
was
leads up,
a
leads up.
test.
Yep.
And you know, again, you got to give George some props for kind of pushing the technology of filmmaking and storytelling. You know, I can talk about that for another 5-10 hours here, but yeah, it's really cool. I think it's fantastic.
Gotta go to bed. No, no, I think though, at the end of the day, with Star Wars Celebration, it is definitely about the fans, and I think that's what's the cool thing, that at least Lucasfilm and everybody, you know, is like, we have to have a convention for these things, and it's a great vehicle. You know, now it's a little bit more mainstream, but back then in the dark times, like you said, no one showed up in Denver because it was like at some abandoned hangar, you know. They probably had like one porta potty or something like that. But you know, as these things progress, you just get bigger and bigger, and it becomes a little bit more mainstream than just a hardcore Star Wars fan, which is accessible to all. I mean, you could go to no panels at all at any of these and have an absolute time, you know, a splendid time. And then now you don't have to be huddled around the cell phone. Now they got the things broadcasted on the main, you know, the main hall, and you know, like that's probably one of my favorite clips. And I'm in the stadium, but my best clip is the one on the floor when they show the Rise of Skywalker trailer. Everyone's like, ah! You know, and it's like, okay, that's cool. That's cool.
We Pat and I didn't make it to any panels.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was a blast. You know, the camaraderie, the togetherness, and to throw it back to what we were talking about way at the beginning about the theater experience. You have that sense of a crowd being together, experiencing something for the first time. It's visceral. It'll never leave, and just that complete madness of seeing the trailer, like you said, Todd, about, and then roll it again, and it's just losing the mind. And like you look around, 306. Well, Pat was right beside me, but you know, 359 degrees otherwise. Everybody around was like looking at each other, like high-fiving people he didn't know. Was like, oh my god, what did we just see? Freaking out. It was you know, talk about a memory that will never leave. That'll be one of them, and it's just a fantastic experience.
Did you guys catch up? Did you guys get any collectibles while you were at Star Wars Celebration? And I noticed that one of the salty nerds, Matt Vader 74, is in the chat. Matt, how's it going? And I wanted to, because Matt is here, I wanted to do a special unboxing because fucking Matt got me into getting all these damn Funko Pops, and I blame his ass for that. But they're really, really nice. I don't collect Funko Pops, but you know, sometimes I wake up at 2 a.m. and I grab my phone. I'm like, what's on Amazon? And I found this really great Funko Pop. So
right.
Let's open it up here.
Oh, this is so exciting.
Yeah, so exciting.
Let's see what you got.
Let's see what I got here.
It's a box. This is great.
It's a box.
Ooh,
and,
what is it?
Let me see here.
Okay.
It's Wrecker.
Wow.
Nice.
Yes.
Wow, nice slow turn on the turntable.
Wow.
Very nice.
Yeah, very nice.
No, very nice.
Again, I blame Matt for it. But, you know, it's really cool. Oh, it's actually came in a box. The box came in a little collector's box.
Oh, yeah, those are
Like a
cool.
plastic-
Yeah. Cool.
So I'll See if I'm not, dude. I'm not
I'll
going to
try
get
to
the rest
figure
of
that
them.
out later.
I'm not going to get the rest of them, dude.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he says that now.
Famous last
Yeah,
words.
say that now, but yeah, check it
Yeah,
out.
famous
That's
last
it. That's my last pop. I swear.
words. Yeah, right. Right,
It's really,
exactly.
really nice.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like Celebration, like again, I got the George Sackle, which was the George Lucas and
Oh,
Fighter
yeah.
Pilot and
I got
Celebration
that right
2.
up
Yeah, I got the, like I said, the Vader for in Celebration 3. But like the Funkos that were at Celebration Chicago, I remember walking out and it was very hard to get them, and lottery system, all that kind of stuff. So sometimes that makes it hard, is sometimes the luck of the draw to get those collectibles. And the store, like the internet was bad, and sometimes the computers were down. It seemed like that was a common occurrence, so and that was happening all the way back in Celebration 2 without the internet. So
Yeah.
it seemed like the store stuff always seems to be a whole venture on its own.
Did you this last Celebration 2 years ago? Did you wait in that line?
No,
I
I
did.
made my
You
buddy.
were
I
in
let
there.
my buddy do it. So I'm like, give me 2 shirts.
One of our friends, Fan Dads, Victor, said that he waited 7 hours in that line.
7 hours.
Bless you.
Oh,
Bless
my
you.
God.
7 hours. Yep. And we got out of there, and we met Sean and Mandy, our first interviews for the show. They were fantastic
Nice.
people. So we spent literally 7 hours with them.
Wow.
Wow.
And became fast friends. We still keep in touch, and they
That's cool.
came back for our 50th episode. So that was worth it right away.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was interesting to think when you think back about it. We walked out of the store after having purchased a few things. There wasn't much left when we got there. But some fun stuff, and we did try to do, got what we could, and we walked out of the door and looked around, and it's like because the store was at one end of the whatever you call the gallery, whatever, and you just went around, and it was a big loop, and when you walked out of the door, you looked across the hallway is where we started standing 7 hours before. It's like, oh wow. And we just looked around, and it's like, wow, that took a while. but that was the point for that day. We knew that going in was that the store day was going to be the store day, and it's probably going to be a bit of a problem, but we knew that going in. So we had all of our stuff planned around that. So, but it was fun.
It's almost interesting. You bring up a good point. It's like you almost have to plan for that. So it's like, okay, well, this is going to be my one day.
Yep.
And how much is it worth for you? It's okay, we're going to sacrifice one day. And that's kind of where you have to, pick your poisons, like for me, Thursday was preview day. And so I wanted to meet Timothy Zahn. That was my deal. I'm like, I have to do this. And so I waited 6 hours to make that happen. It's like, because that's what I wanted to do. But like when the store stuff, I was like, I want a t-shirt, but I don't want it that bad. So, but then my buddy was going, I'm like, okay, here's $20,
Yeah. Generally the best way to meet Timothy Zahn is at something like Dragon Con, where he just like hangs out for like an hour after his panels.
I should have known that since this was Star Wars convention, but whatever.
But I won't be satisfied until Celebration comes to New Orleans.
Okay.
Because
that would be awesome.
That would be
New Orleans is an amazing convention city, and I wouldn't. It's only 3 hours for me.
And,
well, you bring up a good point too, because like, especially again, it's like I only been to the Midwest ones because I'm like, well, there's the plane ticket and the hotel and all, so there's all this other expense, and you got to kind of plan it that way, and so
well, that's like with me. I've only been to the Florida conventions because getting a plane ticket, a hotel and everything.
Exactly.
That's why, like Todd said earlier, that's why I screamed like a little 7-year-old girl when they found out it was here in Chicago.
I
don't know how much money I saved.
I just picked up my phone and called randoms. I'm like, Chicago!
Randoms.
I was like pumping my fist for like a week. I'm like, oh my gosh.
And I get media passes.
right.
What the hell? You can't go wrong.
Bro's like, well, I guess I got to work these 5 days.
work
I
these
mean,
5 days.
whatever, you know.
Shucks.
Yeah.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I want to say a quick hello to Force of Light Entertainment. They showed up. I let them know that they missed our Zemo dance earlier tonight.
We were rocking it.
We were rocking it. Yeah, you're just gonna have to catch it in the replay. Our friend Tim in the chat, in our gentleman's chat, was giving me crap about orange juice and rum. But hey, man, take it when you got it. I don't care.
So are we still
Awesome.
talking about collectibles?
Yes.
Celebration.
Oh, that's right. You got something really cool, right?
Well, it's not like cool, but you know.
Oh, come on! Look at this crowd. Look at these nerds.
Okay,
Of course,
okay.
it's cool,
So I got
Do you
two
see my
things.
basement?
right?
So I got at two different conventions. So the last one in Orlando, I was lucky to get in the Funko lottery, which
Oh,
was, you know,
cool.
very rare.
Yeah.
And I got the let me bring him out.
Uh-oh. Live.
So here he is. He is the hooded Luke Skywalker.
Oh.
Nice.
Wow.
So he's my baby.
Yeah.
He's my- because
Well,
I had
you-
to wait in line.
Yeah,
And-
you remember the stories. That's what makes collecting
Yes.
fun, is like some of that
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Rose getting them like Amazon Prime, but like for
Yeah.
you gotta wait
Yeah.
in line. You have to do
Yeah.
those things. Those are things you remember.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
Again, yeah.
So I got him, and I got also this little clone trooper right here,
That's
Nice.
cute. Very nice.
and
Yeah.
that was in the Funko Live lottery, and I was so worried I wasn't going to get it because everybody I knew that was going to the con hadn't gotten into the lottery, and I was the one, and I had to buy everybody else's Funko Pops while I was there.
Yeah, right.
And I also got at another celebration. Her universe was like brand new at the time.
Ooh.
And literally, you could walk up to the booth, and Ashley was there all day, and you could shake hands with her, talk to her, you could have her sign whatever, because her universe at the time had just started. And they were selling Mara Jade t-shirts.
Wow.
And I still have mine in mint condition
Mid-cash.
because I haven't
Never
worn it.
washed.
You worn it?
I have not worn it because there's never probably anything going to be made of Mara Jade ever again. So I'm glad I didn't wear it.
Never say never. Never say
That
never.
is true. Yeah.
Yeah, never say
Yeah.
never.
But it was
What
great because her universe at the time had just started, and you know,
Yeah.
it was just no big deal. Not like my last celebration where the line was really, really long to get any merchandise from it. So
What about the Anakin you recently got? You got him around?
yes, I do.
There you go.
You want to see him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. That wasn't a faint little segue, by the way.
So here, hold on. Here he is. Ta-da. You probably can't see him very well,
Yeah, yeah. It looks like Anakin.
but yeah, it's
Rocks
the,
like Anakin.
It's the
Anakin.
Art FX. So
Mm.
it's my newest baby.
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, so that's my latest collectible. You know, I've started to zone down a little bit. I'm running out of shelves and space and if I want to keep my marriage, I also have to curtail my collecting. But I just bought some brackets because I need to keep my spaceships off the floor.
Elevated.
And,
Elevated.
Yeah, I'm going to have to put them up somewhere and then just kind of mount them in mid-flight, you know. So that should be interesting. You know, somebody, I had talked to the boys over at Holochronicles about hanging ships. And obviously, I get really nervous about putting my ships on, like, fish lines and things
Yeah,
like
fishing
that.
lines, bro. Fishing lines.
Or
Hey, Founders,
you
you're good to go.
those sticky hooks, because you never know when they might unsticky hook. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the middle of the night, you hear a crash,
I-
and you're done with.
Yeah, when I was probably 14 or 15 years old, I took a Millennium Falcon to the face in the middle of the night.
That's awesome. That's great.
And it was the big model. It wasn't the
Yes.
little one.
Yeah. Like, what just happened?
Chewie, are you okay?
Yeah, right. How'd you get that fat lip? Well, the Millennium Falcon, you know. Oh my gosh. So was that sticky hook? Was that sticky hooks or fishing line? Or what was that?
It was fishing line with thumbtacks.
Yeah, the thumbtacks. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I never had one fall. I had a lot of model planes and stuff, but the Millennium Falcon was just too much, I guess.
It's kind of large and in charge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's my imitation of Andrew this Halloween.
It's his next cosplay.
Cheers.
I'm trying to think what you would call that cosplay, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm gonna stop. I say Falcon facial, but you know. Did you see the April 1st, 501st cosplay?
Yes.
Yeah,
No.
they did the Mandalorian guy, the Gene guy.
Oh, that's
pretty
Oh,
funny.
the Gene guy. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah. Totally. So May the 4th is right around the corner. I hope we get to see a lot of your faces. We'll definitely plan a Red 5 May the 4th little celebration, and we'll see if we can get some people in the chat and people on camera to kind of continue to talk about nerd stuff and Star Wars. Obviously, having that date as an important one, but. What else before we've been on here for about an hour and a half? What do you guys want to close out with? A little closing out discussion.
I don't know if you guys discussed it yet, but on May 4th, right here locally from me, a local comic store, it's having Ray Park. So on May the
Nice.
4th,
Nice.
Which one's that? Which,
it's at
comic-
Emerald City Comics. It's
Oh.
just in Largo.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
where
yeah.
we're going to be seeing Dominic there. So
Yeah.
we're basically neighbors,
Oh.
by the way.
Oh,
we're down in
great.
Northport, south.
Okay,
of,
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so I'm planning on doing that May the 4th because it's not that
Oh,
far.
wow.
So
Yeah, Ray Park. That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
mhm.
Very interesting.
Bear with me. I'm going to text Pat while he's at work. Just give me a second here.
Park.
He's probably saving a life. You're interrupting him.
Yeah,
It's Ray Park. I mean, come on, it's Ray Park, right?
it's
Yeah.
Ray Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's true.
Turn the thing on the IV and we'll be good.
Turn the IV to auto.
There you go.
Yeah,
There's a button for that. He's fine.
he's fine.
It's Ray Park.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, first of all, Amanda, thank you very much for joining us on camera.
Thanks.
A wonderful patron of the Scarab Scuttlebutt podcast. We appreciate that, and thank you for coming on. Todd, thank you for coming on as well. Andrew
Absolutely.
from Coruscant Radio Underground, Charles Conversation. Let's go around the board and tell everybody where we can find you guys. Charles.
Well, you can find us at conversations.com. We're got our podcast, of course. Pat does a fantastic job of running through all of our socials every week because he has it written down.
False. Lies.
We're on lies. Deceptions. Lies. We're on Twitter at Swations. We're on Instagram at Conversations. The same thing at Facebook. And we publish our show every couple of weeks when we
Whenever
can
you
fit our
want.
time in.
Whenever you
Yeah,
want.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we do what we can. We work around Pat's schedule, and we put them out there so we can find our show on all the regular podcast catchers.
Awesome. Well, you guys just finished your Dooku?
Yes, last night, Dooku, our latest episode went live last night, Count Dooku, and we really explored some of the books and went deep on his character and how really fascinating it is. So we really enjoyed that one, and so hopefully everyone else can as well.
Cool.
Awesome. Andrew, what about you?
All right. You can find us at crew_podcast at CRU_podcast. You can also find us at thesciencefictionary.com. And both of our podcasts, the Science Fictionary podcast and Coruscant Radio Underground, are available pretty much anywhere you'd want to find them.
Excellent. What do you guys have coming up?
Right now, I mean, on Science Fictionary, we're still doing our Tolkien month. And we're kind of working on what's next. We had Dominic Pace on last week on Coruscant Radio Underground, and we're kind of working on something to get out this week.
You had
And
the ladies of you had the ladies of Foley.
we did. We had Force of Light on to talk some Tolkien on Friday night, and sometime this week we will be announcing our Lord of the Rings movie trivia match for next week.
Very nice. Very nice.
Movie trivia.
Todd's like, ooh.
Ooh.
Queen Amidala.
And Todd, WSCR, my fellow Chicago and brother, how you doing?
Yes, good. I'm doing good. Thanks.
Fantastic.
It's at WSTR Media on all the socials. Kind of like Charles, I run all the socials. So, but yeah, we also just had Dominic Pace on the show because we are looking forward to ScarifCon 2021. That's coming up in July. But yeah, Dominic just kicked off his tour in Hawaii, and then he's going all over the place. But yeah, so we just had Dominic on. Tomorrow we're going to have a fellow 501st, Christine, that is part of the northern eastern garrison with Carla. So we're going to be talking about costuming and all that kind of fun stuff tomorrow. So check that out. But yeah, we're super excited. We're going to be hooking up again with the Comic Book Couples Counseling podcast in a couple weeks, and we're going to be reviewing Winter Soldier and Falcon, the bromance.
Ooh,
see how this concludes. Unfortunately, this one is only 6 weeks, so hopefully we'll see what happens in the next couple weeks. But yeah, we're going to be hooking up with them in a little bit. So yeah.
Very cool.
Awesome. Very cool. Very cool. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to that for sure. And obviously, hanging out with you at Alley Cat Comics.
Oh my
July
gosh. Real
Pace,
people.
with people.
What?
Yeah.
Don't touch me.
Queen Amidala. And
my next
again,
cosplay.
Amanda, thank you very much for joining us. I
thank
know
you.
you are also on Twitter. Where can folks find you and interact with you?
At Jedi Caligula 89, and I also write for plexreel.com.
That's
So I will be working on the Falcon and Winter Soldier review, so that's my
Nice.
next big feature.
Cool.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that. That is awesome. Guys and gals, both in the panel and in the chat, thank you very much for joining us. And I know Matt Vader is in between his break. I think he works nights, but thank you everybody for joining us. Trevor Beast came up here and said a little hello. Again, thank you guys for coming on Red 5 Live. It was a lot of fun. I know we had a little internet issues there, but you guys did some really great work talking amongst yourselves. Thank you very much. I got to go finish my orange juice and rum. So I hope you guys have a wonderful evening, and check us out. Follow everybody around here and the rest of the Red 5 network, Red 5 players at red5cinco.network.com. Join us in the buffoonery online everywhere you find a podcast. Look for anybody at the Red 5 Network, the Scare of Scuttlebutt podcast. We've got a couple of episodes. Oh, we've got a new trilogy coming out, a series of episodes. They're going to start this week on Thursday. Cursed movie sets. So we're going to talk a little bit about the Omen, Crow, Poltergeist.
Very interesting.
And then it's going to get a little scarier.
Oh.
We have a friend of mine who's a music composer who we're going to bring on, and we're going to talk about scary movie and horror music and stuff like that. So that'll be a Scare Live the following week, and then that last one. But we are gearing up for episode 66/Order 66. You see what I
What
did
happens
there?
in
Yeah,
episode 66?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a very special episode that will also be live with a very special Jedi Master, if you know what I mean. We'll keep you guessing. So
Yeah.
thank you very much again for joining us here on Red 5 Live. I love every single one of you, and not because I'm drunk. Take care, everybody.
Have a
See
good
you
night.
guys.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.